My first impression of Gunner Heat PC is actually a mixed bag at first. The second impression, though, gets much better. You can play as a variety of vehicles, and this here's my first playthrough. I bring the tank up to the source of the fire, and I'm pretty much immediately introduced to the fact that I suck at Gunner Heat PC. As soon as I get my aim up, you'll see the tow launcher is friendly. It fires at a target that fires back at it. Then I try to get my sights up and get the contact, but then that target lights me up, and that there used to be an M60, but it's got a nice flame effect to it, I suppose. I jump into the tow missile launcher just to kind of see how that works. In the tow missile launcher, you can move the missile in flight. That time it's a stationary target, so I just fire and let it hit. But in these other ones, I'll adjust the missile in flight. The problem with the tow missile launcher, though, is that you're stationary. So once you can't fire at the vehicles that are in front of you anymore because of the terrain or whatever, you have to jump into another vehicle to chase down the enemy. What would I say about this game so far? Before I render that verdict, special thanks to the developer and the people of Reddit who responded to my comment about how to suck less at this game. It has so much potential with lots of cool stuff, but it was very obvious very quickly that I was doing something tremendously wrong. Thanks to them, I saw some things I missed, like being able to use spacebar to lock onto whatever target your commander is currently yelling at you about. And of course, also moving slowly and more deliberately. I would have thought that tanks being tanks, blitzing, moving fast, all that kind of stuff, is what you needed to do to avoid enemy fire. But I guess modern vehicles are just good enough with the fire control systems that they can still hit you as long as they can see you. So you'll want to minimize the time the enemy has to see you and fire on you, which I guess kind of makes sense, I suppose. So in the next playthrough, I put these lessons to heart. I minimize the amount of time the vehicle is poking over the ridge by using these small movements, forward and backwards. I use the spacebar to line up that first target the commander wanted, and then use the mouse to make minor adjustments to the aim. I quickly get all 4 tanks lit up, but the problem is there are 8 tanks, enemy tanks, on this mission. When you use all your ammunition from your initial ready rack, you have to manually toggle the loader to pull from the back and reload the ready rack. That system will be improved soon. Right now it isn't letting you pull from the back of the tank, shove it into the gun like in real life, which would just take a few seconds longer if, you were doing it in real life. Instead, the loader just kind of stands there like, well, I don't know what to do, while the gunner has no ammunition until you manually toggle the game to load. Those sorts of things will get cleaned up soon. We've been told that the AI is the next thing they're working on. It's just the pre-release demo right now, so, it's not perfect, but there's tons of potential on display in this program. After those first 4 tanks get killed, I decided to drive up to ambush them from the side, since doing it from the front wasn't going as well as I'd have thought. We're getting a lot of bouncing off. Unfortunately, I'm still mainly frontal by the time I get to my ambush position. I'm hitting terrain, I'm hitting side wheels, doing some damage, but not actually disabling the enemy vehicles. So this ambush was kind of ineffective. However, since I'm in the trees, and they're in the trees, and I'm not fully front on to them, it's harder for these T-72s to see me and target me effectively, so this advice of minimizing the opportunity to be seen does actually help you to not die. So I can confirm that worked. So in real life, tanks do have a situational awareness problem. They're buttoned up, the crew, they can't see what they're not actively looking at, especially behind them. I've heard from people on Reddit that this generation of the AI has this problem of pretty much being blind from the back. So I decided to put that to the test and move into a new ambush position that will get me behind the enemy after they pass through the area. Unfortunately, I move a little too fast, and they wind up behind me. I get lucky with the first shot, though. It doesn't disable me, and then this tree makes it harder for either of us to get a shot off. So I get into cover again, and I don't know if they have thermals or not, but they don't seem to see me. They think I keep going, so they keep going. My first shot's ineffective, and then they seem to think I'll come out the other side of the forest, so they keep going, and they're aiming in that direction, and that allows me to get behind them where I want to be, and they're not looking in my direction, so they don't see me. Now again, I don't know how much of this is dumb AI, not assigning fire sectors, and not watching out for their back, or just the confusion of battle and the situational awareness problem of being buttoned up into a tank. Maybe it's a little bit of both. But the T-72s are looking the wrong way when I flame the first two, and that, once they start trying to turn their turrets, it's kind of too late. I'm able to blow out all 4 remaining tanks using that signature T-72 turret blowout that you've seen all across the Gulf War videos. It's not unreasonable that if they thought I was driving through instead of staying put, that these T-72s might respond that way and, you know, look that direction. But I still feel the AI needs a little work. The developer has stated that is the next priority now, to make sure that the AI is better. It's worth noting that these vehicles are handling very well. Ballistics are good. The other thing they want to add is destructible trees, so that when you bump into a little tree, it doesn't stop you from moving. There's a lot of positives in the game, though. Like I said, the vehicles are good, the ballistics are good. It's a delicate balance between realism and gaminess. You just have to make sure before you play that you practice the gunnery before you jump into a mission. It's a solid public demo. It's difficult to master until you know what you're doing, because it's very easy for you to, if you're trying to line up your shots with a reticle, especially with the M60, if you don't understand how the fire control system works and how that aiming is being done, you could be aiming at something with the reticle and the round goes a mile away and you're wondering why your shots are going very wild. It's a great game though. I'm looking forward to see how it turns out, so I'll be making some other videos soon.